Shut up and sit down.
Hello and welcome to the 12 volt battery issue video on the YARIS. I've made the video, I've just made it now, but I had a little problem whilst I was making it. There's my oscilloscope, amp clamps here, in its bag where I've put it back where it lives. I discovered today whilst I was doing this test, if you bother watching the video, if you want to waste 15 minutes of your life watching it, you can, and see that I wrongly assumed after 15 minutes of the car drawing over 2 amps, it all of a sudden drops to 1.1 milliamp, and I assumed the car had gone to sleep. Nope, the car had not gone to sleep. The amp clamp had timed out. I didn't know the amp clamp that I use times out after 15 minutes. So, just for you lot, I'm going to borrow a new amp clamp, or a different amp clamp, tomorrow. I've just spoken to my friend and I asked him if he'd got an amp clamp, and he said he had. I asked him, does it time out? He said no, it stays on until you turn it off. So I'm going to conduct the experiment again with his amp clamp, but I can't use the oscilloscope with his amp clamp because his just clamps onto the wire and it's got a digital readout on it. So I'm going to have to set the GoPro up watching the amp clamp and leave it locked in the car, and I'm going to have to leave it for about an hour, I think, until the car's turned itself off and the amp clamp's settled down and the drawers settled down, to get the correct reading of what's being drawn out of the battery when the car's asleep. But on the video, if you bother watching it, you can see the decay on the oscilloscope from when we first started the experiment to when the amp clamp turned off. If you want to watch the video, it's up to you. If you don't, just quit watching the video now. It's as simple as that. Thank you for taking your time to watch the videos. It's much appreciated. Please consider liking the video. This one's not worth liking, I'll be honest with you. It was a waste of time. With the problem I didn't know I was going to have. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks very much for watching. Okay, we've got the oscilloscope set up now on a car that's running. The car's alive. We're in park, we're not moving. There's electrical loads turned on. And at the moment, we're pulling between 1.5 and 1.7 amps out of that battery. I'll just show you how I've got it set up in the back. Same setup as the Suzuki. We're on the earth wire. So let's go back to the scope. So if I start loading the car up now with loads, it doesn't change that very much, because I think most of the stuff in the car, once you've turned the hybrid system on, runs off the hybrid system. Engine's just started. There was next to no draw on the 12 volt battery. That's not what starts the engine. The hybrid system starts the engine. So let's turn all the loads off. turn the car off now. I'm going to power the car down. As you saw there was a massive spike as I shut the car down. It's 1:50 now. Let's see how long it takes for this car to go to sleep. Remember, I've turned the car off now. We've got a dead car. Things are slowly turning off. I've just opened the door and you can see the amperage went up. What I'm going to do is stick the oscilloscope on the floor outside the car and see how long it takes to go to sleep properly. So let me jump out the car, grab the scope, put it on the floor. Let's grab the oscilloscope. Let's put it on the floor. I want to close the door on the wire. Let's lock the car. I don't know if you can see that. We've locked the car, we're on 2.6 amps. and that's made it worse. Car did finally go to sleep, and it dropped to an impressive 1.1 milliamps. So you can see how long it took for the car to go to sleep, and you can also see the fact it was still drawing power even though it had gone to sleep. I am going to do this again with another amp clamp. So I've not finished with this video yet. I want to back the data up with a second piece of test equipment, a different amp clamp. I'm not using the oscilloscope this time, just using a digital amp clamp. And we'll see what we get on that clamp as well, so we can back my data up. I've just been reviewing the data, and it was actually the amp clamp that timed out. The car was still awake. The clamp turned off. It only runs for 15 minutes. Which is why I want to back the data up with another amp clamp. So this experiment's not finished on the YARIS. But you can see the car was still alive, drawing over 2 amps 15 minutes after turning the car off. Compare that. Suzuki did next to no draw, and then 3 minutes it had turned off and it was taking nothing out the battery. 15 minutes, this is still drawing 2 amps. So if your battery's not in full health, you can see why the batteries are depleting, getting to a threshold voltage and not turning the cars on. New amp clamp time, I think. One that stays on, one that I can monitor, and hopefully do the experiment again. But I'm going to post this video just to show you the amount of time it takes for one of these to go to sleep. Or I thought it had gone to sleep, it hadn't. The amp clamp decided to time out. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Please consider subscribing. Please click like. Any comments on the video you want to pass, please do. There's more to come on this problem.